ultimately got fixed or not. Usually it fixes itself when it does that, but just in case. When I get deep into the woods in particular parts of the property, the internet just doesn't act up, just doesn't do as well. Well, either way, let's just head on out this way. I brought my knife because we're gonna go harvest a cabbage. It's that nice summer quiet here where there's just a little tiny bit of bugs in the foreground, but also just not really loud. So I'll sit here for a second so you guys can listen. Lovely, lovely days. You know, I was really trying to think of something really exciting and fun to talk about this evening or today. And really it's kind of a slow day, which is perfect. But not a whole lot to talk about. Like, we can talk about all the regular everyday endless silliness that's been happening, but it's really just everyday endless silliness, and then other things that don't really directly affect our everyday life. So, you know, unless you're in the military or have family in the military, you know, the stuff that the military is doing isn't directly affecting us. You know, all the silliness that the government's doing with the trying to lock us down and keep us, that kind of stuff. There's not a whole lot, you know, everybody's doing their part and trying to figure out what's best for them. But really, it's down to the whole, we've got a lot of personal responsibility that we're not taking advantage of right now. And that's learning skills or trying to better yourself or things of that sort. Is that a billboard truck? Yeah, I have no idea what that truck said. Anyways, you know, like, you should be getting out there, and you should be, you know, if it's too late in the season, for a lot of you, it is too late in the season to start growing stuff, but preparing for next year's garden. So I'll show you guys some of the stuff that I'm doing to prepare for next year's garden. So some of the stuff that we're doing is, you know, we watched me plant a bunch of trees. So I planted about 35 trees this year. Well under my goal, but I still got late in the year, so we're still going to see more. But this is this is one of the new future garden plots that I have currently set up. This is some of the hay that got damaged and we couldn't do a whole lot with, so that's why I'm just using it as like a border. I'm not sure what we're going to plant up here yet. We're either going to go with corn or squash or pumpkins up in this spot for next year. But just preparing this now, putting that hay down, letting that hay die on the grass, just getting this to add the micronutrients back in, and so that it won't have to do so much mowing. This is a Ruth Strout style of gardening. Works really well. You don't have to till. So as we walk over here, you guys can see the areas where we'll be doing some more. I had some plans this year. I opted to grow potatoes instead, and then I actually tried some other things. We grew some broccoli in here, and these are mostly just their test plants. So I grew some broccoli in here. I grew some flathead cabbage. So there's my flathead cabbage, which we're actually going to cut and check out. And there is my my purple cabbage and such like that. Okay, Mock, we'll have to check that out. By the way, guys, Mock has a website where he links a lot of stuff. He keeps everything well organized for us, so that if there's survival stuff you guys need, or just a really good place for a variety of different stuff, from gardening to survival stuff to gear like that he's found and put on the site. So he'll probably link the site in just a minute in the chat, and if he doesn't, I would like him to do that, and then you guys can go check that out. And we've been organizing some good lists of stuff that we think that you guys might need and stuff that we might need as well. So you guys can see the onions. These are little onion starts that I put it in there, and then you guys can see how well the there is the Three Sisters. You see corn, peas, and squash. Doing very well. I'll show you my watermelon. So here is my singular watermelon right now there, so you guys can see it's still pretty small. This isn't going to be a big watermelon anyways, but still pretty small. But the watermelon vine is doing very well. This is my ghost peppers. So you guys can see there's a few ghost peppers appearing on here. So I'll be excited to see how well that does. And then that's just some volunteer corn. Yeah, I love honeydew. Now that I know some tricks on getting the melons 2 years in a row to grow well, next year we're definitely going to be adding some more melons and such to the mix. We'll walk out here. I do need to get into this hive soon, maybe tomorrow if the weather's up to it. This is Stormy Daniels. This is the really hot hive that I rescued from some friends that just said the hive was just way too hot for them to handle. So I put it way out here in the field with these guys. So this is just a really nice hive. These bees seem to be doing well, but we need to get in here and do some inspection, make sure they don't need some more room. And then also think about the beginning steps to weatherize them, because you do want to get your hive set up well for winter. And it's a good idea to August and September to start thinking about that. So you see these piles of hay. Main purpose of these piles of hay is so that a little later in the year I'll be able to take these hay and spread them here over these garden plots, and won't have to worry about tilling. And then put those down probably in November, right before we get our first substantial snow, and then we'll be stuff ready and good to go for spring planting in the market gardens. I'm gonna go walk over here. Oh, for those that didn't know, so there is a cemetery right in the middle of the property. So a bunch of people planted here. It's just a slow day. Like I said, just a really slow day. But I thought I'd give you guys a little tour, since it's been a little while from the state of the farm. So there's one of the young cows. They grow up so fast. So I think that's a girl. If not, it'll end up being Hamburger soon. And there's some more cows up in the field over there. We talked about, you guys have heard me talk about rose hips before. So here are some rose hips that have not started turning yet. So these guys are going to turn bright red once the winter hits. And then they're awesome doses of vitamin C. All of this there's a mix between goldenrod and ragweed in there. Both really, really good for late season bees. That's why I try to leave a lot of that kind of stuff on the edge. So we're gonna walk over here and we're gonna go cut that flathead cabbage and take it back with us. part of the reason I'm walking out and showing you guys all of this is just to show you, like, it really isn't as hard as you think. Even if you don't think you have a lot of time, you probably have plenty of time to plant a couple crops and just check on it a little bit, or like you do with the bees, you know. That hive, I haven't got into that hive in probably 3 weeks, and it's still doing fine. So, things can be neglected a little bit. Now, I shouldn't neglect them too much, but they can be neglected a little bit. So let's get down here and let's cut this cabbage. I'm going to cut the cabbage because the reason I'm going to cut the cabbage is because I want to try to get the plant to keep growing. Spin the camera around. I want the plant to keep growing, and so if I cut the cabbage, there's a chance that some other heads and such might come from it. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to find where it's originally coming out of the main stalk, right under here, and try to just get under that head. Get a good cut. So there's my cabbage head. So this one actually looks pretty good. I've got a little bit of slug damage here. So you guys can see there's a little bit of slug damage and a little bit of bugs and such, but in general, it's nice and firm. It's gonna be a good cabbage. At least for me to make some at least good enough for me to make some sauerkraut and such with. So, and that's really what's important, is getting in there and making some sauerkraut. So I'm leaving this open here with the idea that it might start trying to make another cabbage, and so I might get a smaller cabbage later on in the season. So. But here, just to give you a perspective of the cabbage. It's not a giant one, but, pretty good sized cabbage compared to my head. So, and really that was just, I planted that plant and just a lot of neglect. Because I just threw it down here. This was kind of an experimental thing. I planted some of my extra plants that I had just to see how well they would do down here without having to, really do any. I didn't weed this. I really just literally stuck this in the ground and didn't think too much more about it. So it was just kind of, I wanted to run a test down here to see how well the soil and such was, and obviously it did a good test, and cabbage did well. I had broccoli here too, but I didn't catch the broccoli in time, so the broccoli went to seed. But that's fine that the broccoli went to seed, because that just means that it'll seed up that area a little bit, and maybe I'll get some free-flowing broccoli next year, which is a-okay. So I don't mind my crops that choose to reseed. So you guys can see this is more exciting than watching me. Watching me just going through my path. Right now the plants are getting ready to flower, so they're reaching out to the sun as much as they can. So we got some bunnies hopping around the yard, because we have free-range bunnies here and free-range chickens and guineas and ducks. We also have some that we keep inside their homes in the barn, but some of the bunnies just decide they want a free range. They kind of get the choice. If they decide they want a free range and they want to come out, then they do. If they decide that they want to stay in the cage, they can choose to stay in the cage and such as well. So everybody likes some shade. It's been a hot one today. Even though it's only been like in the 80s, it's still it's kind of sticky and hot outside. So Well, guys, I didn't have a whole lot today. I just thought I'd take you guys for a walk, and we go say hi to everyone. You could walk out to the market gardens. So again, if you're interested in watching me play around in Burning Man tonight, I'll probably be playing mostly in VR. But if you guys are interested, I'll be doing that this evening. Other than that, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. And remember, in probably the middle of September, I'm going to start regularly streaming again once I get all my material and everything caught back up. Because right now I'm really playing catch up. So as soon as that happens, we will be doing more regular shows. I'll bring back Let's Feed the Chickens. We'll regularly get into the bees, and then I'll start offering some classes. We'll start doing some different types of classes that teach you how to do a variety of other things. Well, anyways, friends, it's Doc. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And until tomorrow, adios. Or it'll just say no, because that's what it's saying right now. It's just saying no.